Welcome to the first episode of UNHD called How Dating Doesn't Work. Part 1, The Blueprint. What is the blueprint? Well, the blueprint is pretty much the last 50 years of how people have been getting to know each other. It's basically man asks woman out, go out to a bar, go out to having a nice lunch, or maybe even going out to dinner, regardless. How the blueprint rolls itself out is usually plan A and plan B. Plan A is pretty much the introduction, or I like to call the selling points, where basically both parties are talking with each other, discussing things, how they are, the things in their lives, work, family, friends, the little bitty small talk that everybody gets past. Then goes to plan B, which I like to call the buying. Now, what I mean by the buying, I doesn't mean likely spending any money on anything, but you are purchasing an idea now, and that idea basically is, if going out on dating, you have to contend with two things. One person is maybe, let's say the man, let's give him an example. Maybe he's been dating for the last 5 years and he's kind of tired of me. He's alone, he's tired, doesn't want to do it anymore. Whatever led him to that point, maybe he decided on this date, you know what, I'm going to make this date better. I'm going to make this woman, I want to be this woman's man that she wants. I like her a lot, and that him liking her a lot could have a lot to do with his loneliness, but maybe he generally likes her. But regardless, that preconceived idea he came up with before they started going on that date, and now that he's on that date, is a success. He wants to have that woman. Well, goes to the next stage. Well, again, we're going to talk about the blueprint. And if he's wanting that woman as bad as he wants, to be with her, or just to not be alone anymore, he just wants the thing to work. The dating rules, or that I've been called the dating rules, remember this is just my opinion, of course, is all he has to do is do some waiting. Wait to hear what the trigger words are. Ask pretty much what kind of, man that the woman looks for. If the woman usually gives out some small hints, but if you're lucky, she'll give you out everything you need to know. If she wants a man to be a certain height, if she wants a man that's more secure financially, if she likes a man to listen to blues, if she likes a man that likes to wet down chickens on a bad night, or she likes a man to drive a certain type of car with these kind of rims, or however she rolls it out, that man now has an opportunity to tailor himself to that. Now, why would you do that? Remember the preconceived notions of him maybe being alone, or maybe he just likes the girl that much, maybe he's attracted to her, maybe she just rocks everything out that he loves. Just he looks at it and goes, man, I just got to have this woman. Regardless, the blueprint's set. All he has to do is tailor himself to that idea that she's looking for. Day one, he just has to go with the biggest point. Okay, now the reason why I'm laying this blueprint out in such a way is to try to help you not fall into that idea. Most people get to dating, and why dating doesn't work is because of the blueprint itself. I mean, if you just let somebody be themselves and you just let that idea roll from that point out, you don't give the other person a chance to try to learn tricks and ways to get around you. He has to just deal with you directly. What I mean by that is, if you just pretty much have a standard conversation, I mean, don't really, if he asks what kind of, if the same situation comes up, the man asks the woman, what kind of man you look for. If she really the only thing she has to say is, I just want a man to be himself, or I just prefer a man to be, honest and forthcoming, it doesn't give him a lot to work with. He doesn't have a lot of opportunities to try to tailor himself to become that person. He can, of course, lie and say that he's very, sound and very upfront about who he is. But as you go to date number 2 and date number 3 and date number 4, as long as there's no blueprint for him to follow, eventually his true colors are going to show up, or the real person in him is going to have no choice but to act, because he doesn't have anything to work from. Now, that's just a small blueprint that we're dealing with today. We're dealing with the male side. On the female side, maybe, can't speak from the female side because I don't have a female here, but from what I've read and interviewed from other women, one of the things that blueprint that I've seen that men use on women, of course, is the idea of the dream man. Maybe she has an idea of what she wants in a dream man. Maybe she wants a guy to be a certain height, or a certain weight, or have a certain financial stability. I think we discussed that before. But coming from the other point of view, maybe the woman is tired of going through the dating routine and maybe she herself is looking for a little bit better way out or a better way to do things. So maybe she dresses herself up a little bit differently. Maybe she has a shorter skirt, shows a little bit more cleavage, or maybe she has things about her person that she kind of incorporates that she knows that other men like. Reason why she knows that, because maybe he gave her a blueprint. Maybe she asked him what kind of woman you like, and I like a woman to have this kind of dress, or I like a woman that can cook these kind of foods, or I like a woman that has this kind of dog. I know that I'm getting kind of specific, but you get the idea. And she herself can start to tailor herself to become the kind of woman that man likes. Now we're going to go a little bit further. Let's say like 6 months down the road, now after these two guys have been together and they've actually made the relationship work and everything's going good, then goes the downslope. Let's say like those small little things like, hey, you know what, Bob, I didn't know that Bob liked this. I didn't know Bob liked crocheting on Saturdays. Or I don't know about Jane, but I didn't think Jane liked hockey. I didn't think she liked to get out there and get her knees busted up. Maybe it makes small little problems, or maybe they're just little signs to them like, hey, that's a part of them I didn't know about. I don't think I really liked it that much. Well, how to get around that goes back to the very first day. The very first date itself. The blueprint. Don't use it. It's the best way to do it. That way you kind of can, 6 months down the road, you two pretty much have grown together more so than tailored yourselves to each other. And then this is just a small sample of what the blueprint is for part 1. Part 2, I'll discuss more of the after effects of how relationships work after the blueprint has been made, or how to salvage it from the blueprint. Maybe the blueprint worked for some, but there's a way to get around it, maybe make it work, and where people can rediscover themselves. I've actually have a friend of mine that's in a situation where he's been married for several years to a woman, and just a couple of I guess months ago, she started to go through a change. Maybe I'm not real clear about whatever happened in their relationship while the relationship was having its issues, but the gist of the story is she started having different ideas, different modes. She had different wants, different desires. She wanted to do another way in her life, and here they are, been married for several years, and they already have 2 children together. And yet she's starting to want to grow a little bit. And now he's like, oh my God, I don't know who did I marry? This ain't the same woman I married. Well, to tell the truth, it is. But you got to wonder, did she tailor herself to become more of the woman that he wanted? And then she kind of lost herself a little bit. And I think that's very true in a lot of relationships where people get married or been in long-standing relationships and kind of lose each other from that very same blueprint that began when the dating happened, or the courtship, however you want to see it. But it's just an oversweeping problem I've noticed when I interviewed a lot of different couples that have been together for a long time, or just maybe even a couple of months maybe. It's just these warning signs are starting to pop up that maybe they tailored themselves to each other. But there is ways to get around it. Like I said, the blueprint, you got to make sure you don't fall into it. There's no tried and true proven method of dating, because personally I don't think it works, but you are going to have to meet each other on an equal ground and give each other equal opportunity to be themselves. And it's okay if you two don't get along. If you go out on a first date at Chili's or Starbucks or whatever, and the conversation goes so-so, and you really don't think, I don't think I want to give this person, another opportunity, or maybe I'm just not that interested, I'm not feeling them. Sometimes you got to trust that gut instinct and part ways. It's okay that if you two don't click or vibe with each other. Chemistry is pretty important, so I don't think it's important to kind of force an issue to go down the road, because again, you could be tailoring yourself for failure. So thanks for listening on Blueprint episode 1, or part 1, and I hope to hear from you again and get some of your comments. Thank you very much. Remember, this is UNHD, high definition yourself.